The Muslim holy book, the Quran, is filled with various accounts and stories that are known all around the world. Now, in this episode, we're going to be looking at 10 of the most popular stories from the Quran. Welcome back, guys. My name is Leroy Kenton, and this is FTD Facts. Now, some of these stories may also be a little bit familiar to those of you who are more familiar with the biblical narratives. But either way, let's just jump into it. We got 10 stories to look at. Starting at number 10, we have Suleiman. The Prophet Suleiman, or Solomon as it's said in English, was the youngest of the sons of the Prophet Dawood, or David. And he was born in Jerusalem, and he was very talented with many different gifts. And after the passing of the Prophet Dawood, he ascended the throne, and he was a very great king due to his power of judgment, as well as his right understanding and spiritual insight. Now, when you go into the Quran, it has this to say, "And we verily gave knowledge to Dawood and Solomon, and they said, Praise be to Allah who has preferred us above many of his believing servants." And that's found in Surah 27, verses 15. He was also given the power over jinns, and he utilized them in his service, and he was endowed with a lot of special gifts. Even the wind was at his command. Next up at number 9, we have the story of Maryam. Maryam, aka Mary, the mother of Jesus, was chosen above all other women. As a young woman, Mary went into the house of prayer in Jerusalem. Her entire life was completely dedicated to the worship and the service of God. Now, while she was in seclusion from everybody else, a man appeared before Mary, and the Quran says this: "She screened herself from them. We sent to her our spirit, and he appeared before her in the form of a man in all respects." And that's in Surah 19, verses 17. Now, Mary was absolutely terrified. She was so afraid that she tried to run away, but another message came to her, and it said, "Verily I seek refuge with the most gracious God from you, if you do fear God." The angel said, "I am only a messenger from your Lord to you, announcing the gift of a righteous son." And that's found in Surah 19, verses 18 to 19. So Mary was amazed, and she was just like so confused about the words that she heard. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not even married. I'm a virgin. How can I even have a son? And then the Quran continues and says, "And we breathe into it through our spirit, and she testified to the truth of the word of her Lord." And that's in Surah 66, verses 12. So Mary ended up, of course, delivering a child, but the child was delivered while she was under a date tree. So we can't talk about the story of Miriam without mentioning the story of Jesus, especially of him talking. Yeah, that's in the Quran as well. So in the Quran, Surah 21, verses 91, it says, "And she who guarded her chastity, so we breathed a spirit into her through our angel, and we made her and her son, Jesus, a sign for the worlds." Now, the Quran also tells that Jesus spoke in the cradle, and it goes as follows: "Then she, Mary, pointed to him. They said, 'How can we talk to one who is a child in the cradle?' And he, Jesus, said, 'Verily, I am a servant of God. He has given me the scripture and made me a prophet.'" And you can find that in Surah 19, verses 29 to 30. The next story at number 7 is about Harut and Marut. This is a very interesting one, and it's highly debated as well. You can find this in Surah 2, verses 102 and 103. This story goes as follows: "They followed what the shaitan, or the devils, gave out falsely of the magic in the lifetime of Suleiman. Suleiman did not disbelieve, but the shaitan, the devils, disbelieved, teaching men magic and such things that came down at Babylon to the two angels, Harut and Marut, but neither of these two angels taught anyone such things, till they had said, 'We are only for trial, so disbelieve not by learning this magic from us.' And from these angels, people learned that by which they cause separation between man and his wife, but they could not thus harm anyone except by Allah's leave. And they learned that which harms them and profits them not. And indeed, they knew that the buyers of it," referring to magic, "would have no share in the hereafter." Then there is the story of Yajuj and Majuj. We've done a video dedicated to this as well. Now, you can find this story in Surah 18, verses 94 to 98. And according to one popular belief, Yajuj and Majuj are two tribes of people. However, they are said to be very wild and vicious. Either way, in the Quran, in Surah Al-Kahf, there's a story of a righteous king known as Dhul Qarnayn. Now, sometimes his name is spelled with a Z, but he came across a nation that could hardly communicate with him, but they still managed to to somehow get their complaints known to Dul-Qarnayn, and they told him that there were these people known as Yajuj and Majuj who were causing a lot of destruction in their land, and they asked Dul-Qarnayn to help them out. So Dul-Qarnayn, he made a barrier between the two mountains, which to this day has blocked the way for Yajuj and Majuj to come out, until a certain time though. Now in Surah 21 verses 96, it alludes to this and it says, until when the dam of Gog and Magog, or Yajuj and Majuj, has been open and they from every elevation descended. So we just took a look at 5 popular stories in the Quran. We got 5 more to go, but if you're enjoying this episode so far, this is a reminder to leave a like on this video. It really helps more people see them. And also, if this is your first time here to the channel, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell, because we post videos daily. I definitely don't want you to miss any of them. We talk about religion, culture, people, countries. So if any of those topics are of interest to you, stick around here on FTD Facts to keep on learning. And also you can join us on our road to 1 million subscribers. But enough chit chat, let's jump back into this episode. We had the story at number 5, Nuh and the Ark, also known as Noah. This story can be found in the Quran in Surah 11 verses 37. It says, God instructed Noah to build the ark and pass judgment on the disbelievers in the form of a flood, and construct the ship under our eyes with our inspiration, and address me not on behalf of those who did wrong. They are surely to be drowned. Noah chose a place outside the city, far away from the sea, to build this ark. The disbelievers mocked and laughed, and they couldn't understand why Noah would build a ship on top of a hill far from the ocean. But Noah patiently waited for God's command. And now when the water started to gush from the earth and fall from the sky, God instructed Noah to enter into the ark with his family and the other believers with him. But God also commanded Noah to take the pair of animals, male and female, of every kind of animal, bird, insect, and all of that with him into the ark. Pretty much the story goes parallel to the biblical story of Noah and the ark. But now moving on to number 4, we have baby Musa. Musa is also known as Moses, by the way, and he was born in a year where the sons of the children of Israel had their lives taken away the moment they were born. They were in slavery in Egypt. Now Moses' mother was a very righteous woman, and God actually inspired her to cast him into the river while he was in a waterproof basket, and the basket ended up arriving at the palace of the Pharaoh. And in the Quran, Surah 28 verses 8 to 9, it says this: Then the household of Pharaoh picked him up, that he might become for them an enemy and a cause of grief. Verily Pharaoh, Haman, and their hosts were sinners, and the wife of Pharaoh said, a comfort of the eye for me and for you. Kill him not. Perhaps he may be of benefit to us, or we may adopt him as a son. And they perceived not the result of that. So Moses' sister, who was following the basket in the water, she ended up stepping forward and said that she knew of a woman who could nurse the child. So Moses' sister then rushed back to their mother and asked her to come and feed baby Moses. And in the Quran, Surah 28 verses 13, it continues and says, So did we restore him to his mother, that she might be delighted, and that she might not grieve, and that she might know that the promise of God is true. But most of them know not. Only 3 more stories to go, and in at number 3 we have the story of the cave. Also known as the people of the cave, is a story of a group of youth who were hiding inside of a cave outside the city of Ephesus around the year 250 CE to escape religious persecution, and they emerged about 300 years later out of the cave. So the story of the companions of the cave, or Ashab al-Kahf in Arabic, is referred to in the Quran in Surah 18 verses 9 to 26. Now regarding the exact period of time that the people stayed in the cave, as well as the total number of people who were in the cave, the Quran says that the people guessed if there were 3, 6, 5, or 7 people plus a dog in the cave. The passage in the Quran goes as follows: They remained in the cave for 300 years and 9 added, and after states that God knows best how long they remained there. The Quran says the sleepers included a dog who sat at the entrance of the cave, and that's mentioned in verse 18. So then again, it does say 300 years, but then again, it's like, okay, well, how long did they actually stay in the cave, because it says only God knows best how long. So that's been a topic of discussion, not just in the world of Islam, but in the religious world in general. But next up on number 2, we have the story of Ibrahim and Ishmael, also known as Abraham in English, and this is found in Surah 37 verses 99 to 113. And the passage goes as follows: And then he said, indeed, I will go to where I am ordered to by my Lord. He will guide me, my Lord grant me a child from among the righteous. So he gave him good tidings of a forbearing boy, and when he reached with him the age of exertion, he said, O my son, indeed I have seen in a dream that I must sacrifice you. So see what you think. He said, O Father, do as you're commanded. You will find me, if Allah wills, of the steadfast. And when they both submitted and he put him down upon his forehead, we called to him, O Abraham, you have fulfilled the vision. Indeed, we thus reward the doers of good. Indeed, this was declared trial, and we ransomed him with a great sacrifice, and we left for him favorable mention among later generations. Peace upon Abraham. And we reach to the story at number 1. The most popular story involves the Prophet Muhammad and the angel Gabriel. So there was one time when the Prophet Muhammad retreated in the cave of Hira in the month of Ramadan when he was visited by the angel Gabriel, who revealed to him the first verses of the Quran. And by the way, Gabriel is the English pronunciation. It's Jibril in Arabic. So this angel appeared to the Prophet Muhammad in his sleep carrying a book, and he commanded him to read. And then the Prophet Muhammad is also believed to have said these words, the angel caught me forcefully and pressed me so hard that I could not bear it anymore. He then released me and again asked me to read, and I replied, I do not know how to read. So he caught me again and pressed me a second time till I could not bear it anymore. He then released me again and asked me to read, but again I replied, I do not know how to read. So he caught me for the third time and pressed me and then released me and said, these following words, by the way, are taken from Surah 96 verses 1 to 5, and it goes as follows. Read in the name of your Lord who created. He created man from a clot. Read, and your Lord is most honorable, who teaches by the pen. He taught man what he did not know. Muhammad then recited the verses in his sleep. When he woke up, he felt as if the words had been completely engraven on his heart. So you see, this story here is really about the origins of the Quran itself according to the Muslim faith, and perhaps it's the most referenced Quranic story. That's why it's number 1 in this episode. And that does it for this episode on the 10 most popular stories in the Quran. Let me know your thoughts and comments about anything that I mentioned or anything at all down below in the comments section. Thanks for joining me here on FTD Facts. You can also follow me on social media. Those links are down below in the video description section. And I'll leave you with a recommended episode at the end screen, so tap that annotation once you see it to enjoy another video. Alright guys, so once again, it's been awesome hanging out with you, and I'll see you in the next episode.